I call this checked out because it's quite important. I think that the fashion's very good at innovating fashion very well. I don't think we're very good at innovating on the experience very well in sort of a modern context. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. And just some background. So who am I? I've been a 3-time entrepreneur, mostly being a founder. After I had an exit in 2014 with Canary, it was an ad tech company. Before then, it was mostly in gaming or sort of advertising and innovation. And I sort of became an investor and advisor after that. I came back to London. I worked at Smarkets with a friend of mine named Jason, and we sort of grew as a growth play, sort of putting my skills to application, or apply my skills, excuse me. And then I found myself at Lyst with an absolutely most tremendous group of people that at least I've had the pleasure of working with. We're based up in Hoxton Square for anybody that's in London. We also are in New York. So what is Lyst? Here we go. Lyst is the world's largest luxury and contemporary marketplace. In terms of inventory, we have indexed about 20 million products. We've got 75 million customers worldwide. Again, based in New York and London. That's sort of a bit of context, but let's talk about the innovation in fashion and sort of where our perspective is today. So these next couple slides, I'm just going to show you. So this was 2003, for anyone that was sort of shopping around that time. That's 2005, great partner, Neiman Marcus. We've worked with them for a long time. That's 2007, Ukes, another partner, all good partners. But there seems to be a bit of a common theme is Farfetch, another good partner. They're just down the street from us. That's Selfridges in 2013. Even our beloved Lyst sort of has a bit of the same appearance. It's sort of like, what's going on here? I think our perspective is that we just really haven't tried hard enough. There's definitely been some work and innovation in terms of the mobile space and that sort of thing, but the overall customer experience of purchasing and appreciating fashion in a way that is conducive to brands it seems to be a bit far off. That's a really key point. There's never been a bigger opportunity to help people find the things that they want in this vast ecosystem of products. You know, about 90% of products are available offline today. Only 10% happen online. But you know, it's not to say that we haven't done anything. A lot of people have done a lot of good things. You know, in the old days, you sort of had a designer collection. A lot of things actually still happen this way. You know, you have a fashion show that you'd have a 3-month sort of buyer's window. Be obviously pitching and trying to build up your collection over seasonal periods. You know, you'd sort of get your marketing in time for various sort of ebbs and flows of the seasons. And then you sort of have this purchase period, probably bookended by sales periods. And I think one of the most amazing things that you're starting to see is, you know, some of the fast fashion or buy now brands like Zara really tried to innovate on this. And I think it's a really positive thing. You know, it doesn't necessarily apply to a lot of things that Lyst is doing, but generally it's starting to improve. You know, the vertically integrated fulfillment absolutely improved the speed of delivery. You could have something out in 1 to 2 weeks. You'd have this sort of ongoing marketing message, which is very good. So you're constantly building this relationship. You're less sort of built around the flows of seasonality, which is a really good thing. And sort of you can maybe skip out on some of the discounts, the discounting culture that exists in fashion today. And the delivery, which is pretty much one day. I mean, I remember the first time that I got my first order from Mr. Porter. It came in one day. I ordered it like just before work, showed up. I was like, that is the most amazing thing, best experience. Just a nice guy. I was super pumped about that. It was really, really good. The other thing that we've done pretty well, I think, is that technology stack is starting to be applied and proven. Maybe less so in fashion. There's definitely some innovations that are happening there. But in the big markets like Amazon, you're starting to see the Amazon bookstore. You're starting to see their food shop in the States. I don't know if anyone's tried that, but it's literally crazy. You literally walk in and grab something and walk out, and your credit card gets charged. That's really, really cool. But we can definitely do more. But this is, I think, it's really important to understand about where omnichannel came from. And omnichannel came from lack of innovation. If fashion got caught on its back foot in a lot of ways. It didn't, in the early 2000s, it said new technology, we definitely want to be there, we definitely want to be involved in new things, but it was more about innovating the retail experience than it was about innovating in general. And online was generally regarded as like a bit of a cheaper thing. You know, you had a team of marketers, they get a lot of good value out of it, and mostly because they had to do it. And I think again, coming back, it's still an incredible number to be. I mean, 9% of sales happen online only. That means that a considerable amount of transactions still happen offline, which is, I mean, that's why high streets are still busy. That will certainly not be the proportion in the future. But I do understand why. Acquisition was cheap, thanks to Google. Google had really built an awesome ecosystem to acquire customers. It was quite cheap. You had great tools. You had a big audience, giant search box. What more could, I guess, a customer ask for? And that, I think, led to this insert great experience here. Everybody worked on feeds. Everybody worked on product pages. You generally had a very homogeneous experience in the early web days. Even today, I mean, even on apps and things like that, it's mostly generated through feeds and PDPs. And when you're trying to find what you want to look for, and when you're trying to understand if this is a good thing for you, I think you could argue that's probably not the best experience that you can get to help identify the things that you want. So the Google and the rest of the digital marketing ecosystem, they didn't really drive fashion to innovate. It was easy. It was easy, quick adoption. You scale it. It didn't really drive us to do much. I mean, it's a good business. And a lot of businesses here in London and abroad, in the US especially, they live and breathe off this ad revenue and how they're generating it. But at Lyst, and I spend all day kind of looking at this, we really believe that the end is coming a lot faster than we think, at least that most people think. Digital products today are really changing the future behavior of customers. They're definitely not going to be acting the same way that they were before, and I think this is going to happen in probably about the next 2 to 3 years, where it'll be really concrete and cemented into the customer behavior. This is an example of today's climate with audience. Now, if you think that you have access to billions of people, not just one, they're everywhere, and they're all different products, all different experiences, that website that everybody's been building, or these apps that everybody's been building, is probably not going to be the best way to connect with that audience. You have WhatsApp that's already at 1 billion. I mean, I think they crashed today, I was like in the morning. I mean, Slack, Alexa, Oculus, what do those things look like? How big will those ecosystems become? Success will be determined by the future, will be determined by who taps into those audiences most effectively. Whoever provides the best experiences will ultimately win. So we think about this all day. I mean, I certainly think about this all day. A lot of team are trying to think about what we can do, how we can do it. And for our perspective, it's really about the search. I mean, we are a partner for many of the top-tier brands. We cover about 11,000 brands. Most major retailers that are in luxury and contemporary, we definitely look after. But we tackle it through 2 different ways. One is subjectivity. So distilling search into fashion-focused queries. So understanding, look, people are not looking for bikes. They're not looking for these things. They're looking for fashion. What are the different ways that people look for fashion? And it's starting to work well for us. So we look at size, cut, style, price, all those things. And we do that through natural learning processing, so distilling how people actually search for things. And we do it through entities, so understanding that these are groups of things. So there's black shirts are part of styles or that sort of thing. And then we do it through visual search. And we do this exact same thing for contextuality, which is something that's very interesting for fashion. It is really based on through time. You wear fashion in different occasions, in different places, in different periods. And that's a really important distinction amongst all sorts of search queries that we look. That's kind of how we're looking at it, but that's for today. What about tomorrow? So visual search is given. So this is actually 50,000 of Lyst's products. We spent millions of dollars sort of investing in this type of technology. What this means is that the closer those dots are to one another is the closer their relation to one another. So how closely linked are they? But it'll most likely be on demand when there's any intent that is available, and it'll most certainly be voice controlled. I mean, if you're looking for something and you're in your house or you're with friends or you'll most likely do something that will be voice controlled. That's something that you can already start to see it. I mean, Alexa's scaling up now. You start to hear about friends talking about Alexa. They're calling out for things, ordering things all the time. It's a really rewarding experience. But what happens when we have better and more sophisticated digital assets and content? So I don't know if anyone knows who that is, but that's the founder of Oculus. This is the worst photo ever. But it's probably not going to be you slapping a helmet on and trying to shop through a store. That's not exactly a good experience. But it could be something like this. And now this is Magic Leap. It's another company based out of Florida in the States. And what they do is that they actually augment what you see. And why is that really cool? Well, you could do all sorts of things. You could try things on, see how they look. You could change colors of items. You could augment the style, get a precise fit. You could send friends different style packages, be like, what do you think? And that really helps you to choose what kind of fashion that you like. Getting there is really hard, though. I think the most important thing, I mean, Lyst is trying to say, like, we'll take care of this part, you know, from our perspective and how we can help by tapping into those experiences. We will help design conducive experiences that will help you reach those types of customers in those audiences. But we need brands and retailers' help. And I think that there sort of needs to be a line drawn about how they can develop and what we can do to support one another to actually achieve this. And in this essence, consolidating the digital ecosystem so that we have cleaner data is going to be really, really important. Everybody's going to need to understand what products are, how they work, and how we get them into the hands of these experiences. If we don't have a clear direction on how to do that, it's going to be very difficult. The second thing is that pick our battles in the real world. I mean, what does a retail experience look like today? Is it going to be a place where you're going to show up and buy things? Is it going to be a place where you're going to try things? Are you going to or check fits? You know, are you going to be experiencing some sort of brand aspects? What are retailers going to do to win those types of customers over so that they look for their products? The last part is size and fit. And we see this all day, every day at Lyst. It is still the biggest hindrance to a sale. Convincing people that it's going to fit you when you're buying it from somewhere and it's not in your hands. That tangibility factor is a massive driver for growth. I think I'll just try to close off by saying in fashion, we're really great at embracing the new, but we're not really good at scaling the new. You know, we do a great job of saying, like, technology's awesome, let's try all these cool things. I mean, the type of times, how many times I've seen, like, what's her name, editor of Vogue in Russia. She's always at Google, always trying to do really good things, but we're not good at supporting ourselves to bring and scale up new technologies. And that's one of the main things that I think that retailers and brands are really going to have to help decide for the future. I hope that we can do that together. I'm happy to always chat about it if anyone wants to talk about it. I love talking about it. That's it. Thanks very much.